If you clicked on this video because the title said how to practice mindfulness, well, you're in the right place, because mindfulness is something that we're trying to bring into our everyday life here at the Balance Journey. That's what all my videos are about, and that's what I try to practice in my own life. So just defining it, personalizing it, and applying it is what I want to talk about today in terms of how do you practice mindfulness. So if we're trying to define what does it mean to be mindful, the beginning of that is we have to acknowledge that no matter whether you're a religious person, spiritual person, or even an atheist, you are intuitively and vibrationally responding to life. You might not use those words, but we cannot help but do so because we are vibrational beings. And the way I describe it is we are mind, heart, and spirit beings. We have the essence of God within us, and then we also have our thinking, we have our emotions, and we have feedback from all of these things. So taking those into account, the idea as far as being mindful is that we're disciplining ourselves to choose to coordinate those things, to coordinate how we're thinking in our mental analysis and assessment, to choose how we're feeling emotionally, both accepting that and validating that, but not letting that take over. Like having the discipline to say, hold on, I know how I feel, but that's not the only aspect for me to consider. And then the spiritual guidance that is within us, really. And as we reach for it, as we're seeking for that guidance, we are asking for higher and broader solutions, things that we're not necessarily always going to consider if we're only thinking about our own life experience and running everything through the filter of our thinking process or our emotions. And in that sense, the mind, heart, and spirit, coordinating that together and wanting that to be the definition of mindfulness means that really we're choosing always with our mind. The mindful aspect, the word mindful, we are actually using our mind to say, that's me disciplining myself to say, how am I feeling? Accessing the emotions, but asking with our mind, and then accessing spirit and asking with our mind, and then always having that discipline to say, how do I coordinate that, and how do I make sure to keep it as balanced as possible so that I'm not running away in one direction or another, not all the way on the spiritual side, not all the way on the mental side, and then not all the way in my feelings. And so if we're defining it, you can take or leave the mind, heart, spirit definition that I propose, because obviously it is a personal thing, but I will say that I don't think we can do without the balance that is what mind, heart, and spirit allows for us to achieve. So however you describe it, the important thing there is, if you're trying to practice mindfulness, remember that those aspects all apply, and we cannot help but intuitively and vibrationally experience life. So if we want to be mindful about life and practice that, then we have to at least acknowledge those aspects, because otherwise we'll be thinking and we'll be full of our mind, but we won't be mindful, that other aspect that we understand to be more of a grounded sense and a more of a holistic, full sense. And then, just personalizing and applying that for yourself, and maybe just keeping in mind that the goal is to find that sense of balance and that sense of equilibrium that only you are going to be able to know you've found. It will become second nature to you as you practice mindfulness, to find your own sense of groundedness and your own sense of stability within whatever you're going through. And I think that's what practicing mindfulness is. It's just helping ourselves to become more grounded and stable and steady despite change and despite disruptions and despite pushback and stuff that we're going to experience in life. But mainly knowing that, by you personalizing and applying your practice of mindfulness, you are consciously choosing, and you're already doing it. We actually have always been doing it, but now you're saying, I want to be more mindful, more conscious, and more intentional about it. So as you deepen your experience over time, I hope that at the Balance Journey, at this channel, the videos that I share will encourage you and will support you and will just give you that narrative that reminds you of how holistic it really is, how it's not some special teaching by somebody that you need, as much as you just need that reminder. I think we all need reminders in life that we are naturally within that circuit of mind, heart, and spirit, and that we are always seeking to find a sense of equilibrium and balance there. And that's obviously what I'm talking about here, the balance journey. So if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.